contracts awarded for the construction of alternative settlements for flood victims in 2022 are completed and well kept. Permanent Secretary Minister of Environment Nana Fatima gave a directive in Abuja. Nyongidi reports.
Over 17 billion naira was spent, 360 lives lost, and critical infrastructure damaged when the Lago Dam in Cameroon was emptied in 2012. Less than 3 years, the 985-feet Lago Dam has started another round of relief, passing through the 870 miles River Benue, thereby creating panic and untold hardship among residents at the riverbank. States like Benue, Sokoto, Niger, and Anambra have started feeling the impact of this action.
In action cases, state governments and local governments should prepare to evacuate residents. Public places should be designated and prepared for any eventuality.
Besides the release from Cameroon, some states in Nigeria will still experience coastal and flash flood. However, the federal government is not relenting to ensure that contracts awarded to relocate flood victims in 2012 must be inspected in the next few days.
I will send my officers out to some of these states to quickly go and monitor in collaboration with FEMA to see what is on ground, terms of the structures that were put in place for which monies were given by the federal government in 2012 to actually assess them. So my son will be going on first thing tomorrow morning.
Residents in the affected states are also advised to be conscious about their immediate environment, not to block the drains. In Abuja, near Ogidi, NTA.
In the meantime, the inauguration of the expanded Suez Canal in Egypt was well celebrated as a feat in maritime services in the world. It is similar to the initiative of the federal government on dredging of the river Niger, and against this background, Waziri Zeyano reports on the story of the two projects.
This Nile is the lifeblood of Egypt, and the Suez Canal is the country's umbilical cord to the world because some 7.5% of world sea trade passes through the canal. Comparatively, it will also be said that River Niger is to Nigeria what the Nile is to Egypt. This is because through their various attributaries, both Nile and Niger provide sources of livelihood in the areas of irrigation, water transportation, fisheries, and other forms of aquatic life to millions of people dwelling along the bank. Egypt's expansion project of its existing 145-year-old Suez Canal therefore readily brings to mind the dredging of River Niger. A more or less similar project commissioned in September 2009, 38 billion naira was earmarked for the venture, which started from Baro in west-central Nigeria to Warri in the south-south, with the intention of making it easier for goods to be transported to the hinterland as a result of bad roads and poor railway services. At present, the $8.2 billion Suez Canal expansion, which started in August 2014, now doubled the number of ships passing through it to almost 100 every day. On the other hand, in spite of this investment, dredging of the River Niger continues to make very little or no progress. Egyptians who are so proud of the canal also bought shares in the project and are already anticipating crossing revenue through the canal to increase from 5.5 billion to 13.5 billion US in the next decade. From the Suez Canal in Egypt, Nigerian, NTA News.
One person has been confirmed dead and about 600 houses destroyed. The flood that wreaked havoc in parts of the Yobe state. The lawmaker representing Yobe South, Senator Mohammed Hassan, confirmed the incident to correspondent Abdullah Garba Belenkudu, appealing for immediate assistance to victims.
A preliminary assessment of the flood disaster showed hundreds of people displaced and are taking refuge in primary schools. The worst-hit communities include Ngazarma, Jajiri and Masho, all in Pune local government area of Yobe state. While the victims are taking stock of their losses, they call on state and federal government to come to their aid. Senator representing the senatorial district, Senator Muhammad Hassan says, apart from relief assistance, there is need for government to look into the town planning issue as the flood is a recurring one. They sympathize with the victims and assure them of immediate intervention of relevant bodies to cushion their hardship.
On my own part, I intend to
personally assist, support. I may not be able to take care of all the affected victims, but I will do my best to ensure that from my own personal contribution and that of the relevant agencies have been taken care of.
Yobe is also one of the northeast states affected by insurgency attacks. Abdullahi Garba Bulmunkudu, NTA News.
Following the European Union ban on some Nigerian agricultural food exports to June 2016, guests on Good Morning Nigeria are appealing for regulatory bodies in Nigeria to ensure strict compliance with standards for both exports and local produce. Aminan Jane reports that this formed part of contribution and ways to reverse the ban in Monday's edition of NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria.
Detection of high pesticide level contained in beans was the major reason given for the ban by the European Union, a situation which has caught the attention of the National Assembly. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria were unanimous in pointing accusing fingers at concerned regulators in failing to ensure that standards are adhered to in the food crop meant for export.
Nigerian Produce Service, which is an arm of Federal Ministry of Trade, is still using 1959 ordinance. The major problem is everybody just does whatever it thinks is right.
What does the ban mean for the country?
The nation that we are exporting to is conditions, is standard. If you don't meet these standards, you can say anything you want to say, but at the end of the day, it is their duty to protect their citizens.
There was, however, the argument on what the right standard was for what country, as various destinations had different standards. The guest emphasized the need for relevant agencies to go back to the drawing board.
A state of emergency to be declared on the agriculture sector, and the government to come up with an agricultural master plan so that we create a system that will enable farmers, full-time farmers, to have access to land.
I think most of what will be applicable is for us to strengthen the regulatory authority to be alive to their duties,
to amend or revamp laws that are archaic, which is not in sync with international best practices. And then, of course, the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment, which is the ministry saddled with prosecuting trade issues in the country, has that responsibility.
Prior to the present ban, the EU is said to have issued 50 notifications to Nigerian exporters of beans since January 2013. In Abuja, Aminan NTA News.
And now to education. School teachers and administrators in the Federal Capital Territory are attending a week-long workshop of special needs education to improve the quality of teaching and learning in schools. Franka Uzoma reports that the workshop is being facilitated by 2 Nigerians in the diaspora.
Special education is a customized education program designed to meet the uniqueness of persons with special needs. They include the visually and hearing impaired, physical and health impaired, and intellectually disabled. Unfortunately, this group of pupils and students do not receive adequate attention in the school system.
Special needs starts with identifying that there are students in our community that don't learn the way that everybody else learns. So it's recognizing that people have different needs, different learning styles, different ways to motivate them.
The capacity building is a public-private sector initiative aimed at addressing the learning gaps of children with special needs.
It's acknowledged that when you tap the expertise of the diaspora, they can contribute to development. And for a country like Nigeria, we try to equip what the diaspora can bring in by just looking at the remittances that Nigeria has been able to get from the diaspora that is out there.
Through relevant interactions, participants will be exposed to the implications of patterning, memory, questioning, emotion, and other natural pathways that will facilitate learning for the children.
You have to put the infrastructure in place. You have to the government has to reach out to people who are considered experts in this area, that is education.
The workshop will end on Friday in Abuja. Franca Uzoma Olo, NTA News.
Still talking education, the West African Examination Council WAG has released the results of the 2015 May-June West African Senior School Certificate Examination, with candidates from the 13 affected states not being able to access the results. Head of Nigerian Office of WAEC disclosed this to Newsroom in Lagos. Jane Ojuku has details.
The Head National Office of WAEC, Mr. Charles Igoridu, disclosed that over 1.6 million candidates registered for the examination, out of which 1,593,442 candidates sat for the examination. He explained that 1.4 million candidates had their full results released, with 5.99% still being processed.
758,839 candidates representing 47.22% obtained 6 credits and above. 949,852 candidates representing 59.61% obtained 5 credits and above.
A further breakdown of the results shows that there is a marginal improvement on the performance of the candidates. While 6 out of the 19 states that are owing WAEC for the registration of their candidates have paid and have the results of their candidates released, the remaining 13 states who are yet to comply cannot have access to their results. WAEC appealed to the affected states to do the needful.
The Council has decided that results of government-sponsored candidates of indebted states will be released if such states enable to produce advance payment guarantees from reputable banks, so that the Council will be assured that the fees will be.
Candidates are advised to check the Council's website www.waecdirect.org starting from Tuesday. In Lagos, Jane Ojuku, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Here they informed you that the African Development Bank has commended President Buhari's macroeconomic policy. We also heard that the federal government is taking steps to combat 2015 flood challenges. And still to come, airlift of pilgrims for 2015 Hajj changes to 23rd of August. Details in a moment.
NTA International. This is where the news begins. Every breaking news and development on the African continent.
Welcome to NTA International News. State House correspondent Hamza. In-depth news analysis and professional perspectives on all sides of the story.
Experts say the issue of
national
security
energy and resources must be mobilized every day on NTA International. We take you inside Africa and the world.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Reports just reaching us indicate that President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed a Presidential Advisory Committee against corruption, headed by Professor Issa Sage, a prominent professor of law and civil rights activist. The committee briefs is to advise the present administration on the prosecution of the war against corruption and the implementation of required reforms in Nigeria's criminal justice system. Other members of the committee, which is also expected to develop comprehensive intervention for achieving recommended reforms, are Professor Femi Odekunle, Dr. Mrs. Benedicta Dauda, Professor E. N. Alemika, Professor Sadiq Usman, Atiza Usman, and Professor Bolaji Owasaoye. The date for the commencement of airlifts of intending pilgrims for the 2015 Hajj has been changed from 18th to 23rd August. Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sahad Abubakar III, there is known at the stakeholders meeting in Abuja. Ali Tukro has reported.
Declaring the stakeholders meeting open, the Sultan of Sokoto said the change of date from 18th August to 23rd became necessary so as to reduce impending pilgrims' stay in the Holy Land. He said adequate arrangement has been put in place to ensure that Nigeria meets the deadline for the closure of airports in Saudi Arabia, while this year's operation will kickstart in Kaduna State.
We must be there than the previous year's Hajj because of the experience they have done and the way and manner of the implementation.
Chairman of the Commission urged stakeholders to work closely with the Commission for a hitch-free exercise.
We will do whatever it takes to adopt cost-saving measures and will work towards financial autonomy of the Commission, which will be gradual withdrawal of government funding so that the Commission can start on its feet.
The meeting was also an avenue to review the preparations for the 2015 Hajj operations. In Abuja, Ali Tukun, NTA News.
Over 500 migrants from 8 African countries deported from Gabon arrived Calabar Cross River State capital for onward movement to their respective countries. Abuja after reports that before their arrival to Calabar River, the Nigerian government made adequate transaction arrangements to convey them to their destination.
The deported migrants include people from Guyana, Mali, Senegal, Guinea-Conakry, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin Republic, and Niger. Receiving the migrants, the Comptroller, Nigerian Immigration Service Cross River State Command, Funke Adoyi, said they were deported from Gabon for not possessing adequate documents. The Comptroller said Nigerian government and that of Gabon have made adequate arrangements for their safety and comfortable journey back to their different countries.
Yes, the next line of action will be ensuring that the migrants are mainly transited through Nigeria to the nearest land crossing to their countries of origin.
Representative of Senegalese Embassy in Nigeria, Mustafa Sarr, commended Nigerian government for the step taken to ensure their safety arrival and said he was in Calabar to see to the welfare of the deported Senegalese.
I'm very happy because I know the Nigerian is the biggest country of ECOWAS, but he showed this because he take care of our people. He receives us very, very, very good, and we are very happy.
Some of the migrants who spoke with NTA said they decided to move out of Gabon due to hard condition of living.
I'm traveling to Gabon last year, April. So I went there and I see the situation of the country, the way they do things. I already spent 5 months because I don't want to get bad record for anybody in my life.
In Calabar, Badiapan, NTA News.
Now to business, Nigeria's revenue agency collects 2.37 trillion in some loans, and Zimbabwe Platinum miners get tax PP. Details of this and more with Eden Harry.
Federal Inland Revenue Service says it collected a total of 2.374 trillion naira in taxes within the first 7 months of this year, representing 89% success rate. This was disclosed by the acting executive chairman, who also said the agency is to adopt new strategies to recover unpaid taxes to boost its revenue generation. The new strategies include negotiations and payment in installments by taxpayers. Zimbabwean government has suspended the 15% tax on raw exports of platinum for a period of 2 years to allow mining companies more time to set up platinum beneficiation facilities. This allows the country's mines to continue exporting raw platinum group metals, PGM, without being subjected to the contentious tax. The country's Ministry of Finance had earlier this year
gazetted a statutory instrument effecting government decisions to subject raw PGMs to export levy. Togo's economy is to grow by an average of 5.5% between this year and 2018, up slightly from 5.4% over the 2013-2014 period. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, who revealed this in a statement, said the aspiring regional transit hub is expected to trim its current account deficit to 9.6% of GDP by 2020 from a forecast of 12.3%. NTA Int'l.
And out of foreign news, China is set to provide more help for Africa in the fight against Ebola. Guilt-feared fire disaster in Ghana caused by sugar. Plus, President Mugabe blames foreign vandals for the killing of lions named Destruction. Details with Musa Babahani.
The Chinese government has pledged to donate extra $5 million to UN Ebola Response Multi-Partner Trust Fund to support the recovery process in the Ebola-affected countries. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said this as he started a visit to Sierra Leone, Liberia and Guinea, the three African countries worst hit by Ebola virus disease. So far, China has sent over 1,000 medical staff to the three affected countries, treated more than 900 patients, and trained some 13,000 medical workers. The committee set up by the Ghanaian government to investigate the June 3rd flood and fire disasters at Kwame Nkrumah cycle has found one St. Kwesi Oposu guilty of the disaster. The committee is convinced that a lit cigarette smoked by Mr. Kwesi sparked the fire. However, the committee is not clear whether the action by the suspect was intentional. The suspect was reported to have been smoking during the rainstorm and then dropped the cigarette without putting it out. The government set the committee to look into the immediate and remote causes of the disaster. President Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe has blamed government officials for their inability to protect a popular lion named Cecil that was killed by an American in what has been described as illegal hunt. Mugabe's first comment on the issue was made in a speech marking national holiday honoring fighters who died in the war to end white minority rules. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Now talking sports, President Muhammadu Buhari has extended hearty congratulations to Nigeria's team as it just concluded Special Olympics in Los Angeles, United States. In a statement from the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity says that President Buhari commends the team for their diligence, dedication and wonderful performance at the Games, in which they won a total of 71 medals, including 34 gold medals. The President also applauded the special athletes' inspiring victories in Los Angeles, which he believes epitomize the true Nigerian spirit and his passionate conviction that whatever challenges the citizens face as a nation can be overcome through dedication, hard work and perseverance and rise to the highest possible levels of accomplishment. The President assured the athletes that the federal government and all Nigerians are very proud of their performance at the Special Olympics, in which they won medals in all featured events. The statement adds that the President looks forward to receiving members of the team at the Presidential Villa to celebrate their brilliant victories in Los Angeles. Dominance of Southwest in age group cricket competition continues as Nishikori heads 10th title in tennis at the U.S. Capitol. Amazing Marcos reports.
Team Southwest claimed the title for the second National Cricket Federation Under-17 Girls Championship on Sunday after team defending champions South-South. South-South had earlier won the toss, electing to field where Southwest batted and scored a total of 45 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in 10 overs. In the second innings, South-South scored 8 runs in the first over, but quick wickets prevented them from scoring runs, as Southwest eventually won by 3 runs.
The youngest we have so far from the South-South is a 10-year-old girl. who is participating in this tournament. So what else can we say? They're going places.
The national
A quick look at weather prospect in Nigeria's some world cities. NTA International, thanks for watching. I'm Sebo Lawole.